We've got Windows PC, the depth sensor, which we have right here actually, and also scattered about, and audio. At the moment, Depthkit does not capture audio. We're working on that. So we have a couple recorders for you guys to work with today. And before, I'll basically just jump into a quick demo and go through the walkthrough, but I want to talk about the workflow options. So we have one called the record workflow, and basically the benefit of that is for those today who want to go off and maybe grab a kinect and capture in any space. And the key there is it will pull the kinect spotty index data. And what that is it's just tracking your body or multiple bodies. So that is really helpful for automatic background removal. So let's say you want to do an interview off in the corner here. You don't have to be distracted with the environment around you. You can just focus on the subject to take into your environment. And then we have the enhancement workflow, and that is really ideal for captures where you are working on a green screen. It will allow for higher resolution exports, cleaner edges, reduced depth noise, and it's a whole, it's taking advantage of our refinement algorithm to up-res that data. Because we are working with the kinect that has a fairly low resolution depth input, and we want to pump that up. So we'll be doing a quick walkthrough of that now, and then for those of you who want to go back to the record, it is a kind of quicker, easier option. So both will be open to you today. And just to kind of show you the difference, we have the raw depth here. You can see this is actually a really great example of some pants that did not like the kinect. They are crazy noisy. I've actually never seen them this bad. So this is a really good before and after example of what your depth data can look like. And what we see here is the hue encoded depth with the color.
How did you go then from raw depth to refined? What made it change from what did you do to make the difference?
Yeah, sure. So basically, it's an algorithm that is currently in Depthkit, and we'll walk through that. It's a series of basically kind of cleanup parameters that we're going to use.
Can you keep it off if you want the raw depth look?
Oh, of course. Yeah, we have both options. Totally optional. But to set you guys up today, I'd like to go over both opportunities for those who do want to shoot on the green screen out there, so you know all of the options. Actually, I'll skip that. I will actually leave it at that, and we can just do a quick example, I think, just to get it up and running.
What was the problem with that? Is it because the color of the pants is not good for recording because it's black, or is it the background? Or?
It actually tends to be more the material. So if you have a very highly synthetic material, it often can be slightly reflective.
Oh, yeah.
Black pants are kind of the typical one that can really get you. So if you had natural fibers, you won't run into that as much.
Okay.
So I'm just going to open up Depthkit, and we'll just do a quick run through. All right, so here at the bottom, I'll give you a quick interface tour. We can
decrease the resolution on the screen.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And also, Jillian, you said soon Depthkit is coming out for Mac, right?
That is correct. Yeah. The one point about that is that Kinect. So the Kinect still won't work on a Mac.
Oh, my.
So we might be ready, but the Kinect is not going to be ready. There are other sensors that are coming out that will, but we need to wait. We need to wait for that. But yes, we will very soon be Mac friendly, because I do realize PCs are not always your friend. Can you guys see that a little bit better? I think maybe I'll go larger.
Text is the problem.
Yeah,
People at the back of the room. If you restart your Depthkit app,
yeah. Let's try that. Let's just close that.
that's right.
It's better. Cool. Okay.
Right? Anybody can't see that?
Is that okay for everyone? Cool. So in the bottom left here, we have the video preview and the depth preview. And you're seeing the depth. If you're used to working with depth data, you're probably used to seeing this in grayscale. This is hue encoded. And I'll show you kind of what we're going for there in a moment. We have our 3D preview here where we can really understand the output. So the first thing you'll notice is the video preview is just a larger frame than the depth. So when you are recording, you're not necessarily going to be using that preview as your guide. You're going to be using the 3D viewport because it does represent the output. And for the sake of just quick basic tour, we do have sensor configuration here on the right panel. And for that is the case if I also had a RealSense depth camera plugged in, I could alternate back and forth. I did not think to pull mine out right now, but I could do that later on. And with the RealSense, you can also edit your resolution, which is quite handy when you want higher res color.
What's the resolution on the RealSense?
There are 3 different configurations. I'm blanking right now. It's like 1280 by something. It looks better for color. So yeah, I can definitely pull that out. It's like an apple and orange situation. The depth on the RealSense is lower. Well, in my opinion, lower quality than the kinect, and that's why we're using the kinect today. But we can experiment and go back and forth. Can I ask for a volunteer to stand in front of the green screen so we can do a quick test? Yeah, come on up. And this is going to just be like a quick run through, so it's not going to be the most ideal. Thank you.
He's all in cotton.
Wonderful. I know you dressed just for the occasion. Cool. So I want to think about a couple things here. I want to think about my depth range first. And as you can see in the bottom corner, our depth range is represented in sliders, but I can also grab these corners here. And this is really important because this represents your spatial resolution. And what that means is if I increase this resolution by basically crunching this range so that my near and far planes are as close together as possible, I will get higher quality depth detail, and that really comes across in facial details, details in your clothes that you might want to just pop out and have them feel more tangible. If I were to shoot the entire space and say you were standing very far away, you just wouldn't have that same level of spatial resolution.
Can you like zoom into his face now so you can
Oh,
see
of course, yeah. It's not necessarily a difference that you will see in this preview right now. But if say you were standing there and you weren't going to do a very active capture with a range of motion, I would set this so that my near plane here is represented in a dark orange to red. Dark orange is like your safer bet. So if you were just standing like that, this would be a good area. And
Where are
then,
you seeing that dark orange? I'm not.
oh yeah, sure. So let me zoom in here.
depth preview.
So
Oh,
both
depth
in the depth
preview.
preview, but when I click this, we see it live
Right,
here.
Okay.
So we've got a good orange in the face. There we go. Perfect. And see this, now you're clipping away. So this zebra stripe is when the data is not going to be included in that capture.
can we have best result with the lighting?
Yeah, so for the sake of just kind of demoing, we're not in ideal lighting
Yeah.
situations, but that's okay for right now. It's not terribly. We'll probably turn the light on when we start to capture. So similarly, I take the far plane and I bring this right to the back here, and this is going to isolate the background, which is great. I want that anyway.
Okay.
And then I'll have you back up a little bit because you're tall for the frame. Oops, now you're gone. Pull that back. So the one thing I will note is that this depth range is non-destructive at this stage. When we are recording, I can make this wide open, or I can, if you step out of the range and you clip off a body part, don't worry, it will be in your capture. You can bring that back. This is more just for kind of best practices.
Do you mean back in post or?
In post essentially. So no
you can
worries
change
here.
the slider outside after you've recorded it, you can change the slider.
Yes.
Great.
Yes. So no pressure.
Excellent.
If you lean forward, we're not actually going to cut off your face in the asset, so that's fine.
So if you reduce the range, does that increase the resolution or not?
It does, yeah. It increases the spatial resolution.
But if to do that, it must reduce the amount of data and clip off the external range, right? The two ideas seem contradictory.
So I'm sorry, it does remove the external range, but you basically want to take, if we think of it just as various planes, we want to bring them closer to get together and crunch that data so it's represented, so we can see all of those planes closer together.
Why is it freezing up like that?
It often is freezing up.
So is it better to get closer the green screen or the far clipping camera?
I would set it based on the performance of your subject. This isn't, you can't always get a narrow range. If you're shooting a dance performance, you need that space, and that is fine. If you keep it wide, it's not like you're going to get a poor quality asset. You're still going to get a solid depth capture. This is just one of those best practices that is handy to know, and will improve the kind of just the profile details and what that depth looks like in Unity. Now in the edit context, we will have a series of takes in this library, and we can play and scrub and set my in and out points here. So our goal is to keep it very similar to a video editing workflow. And again, I can pan around here. The first thing I would do, if I wanted to do the quick record workflow where I've shot, on location, I don't have a green screen, is apply the automatic kinect mask. And that just gets rid of the background by treating that body index data as your mask. So instantly, we've gotten rid of all of those chairs and all those things like that. In an ideal world, I would not see that floor. It's really unusual that it captured that. I think it's because it was so dark. At this time, I would then go in and set my depth range. And again, so what I'm going to look for here is, the back of your foot. I'm going to look for kind of a pink, dark blue to pink to represent my far plane. The near plane here, again, I'm looking for dark orange, kind of just like this, is a really healthy range of colors to have as my depth range.
So when you have that on the left-hand side, that little color things between the two blue dots,
Yeah.
is that reflective of
This
what
is,
you're doing?
it's the same parameter, yeah, just, however you prefer to work with this.
I have a quick question if I found my notes. So when you were defining your near and far clipping planes in the previous step, was that a destructive process where everything you cut is not being recorded and you can't work with it right now?
It's actually non-destructive.
Okay.
So when you're setting it in the recording process, it's more to be aware of what your range is going to look like during recording. However, if you reach forward and you see that your arm is clipped, it will be here to pull it back. You literally just expand it again and you'll see that it's there.
Right, so that's to optimize your previs, but you can still work with it.
Yeah, it's just reference. But in this window, it will actually clip out this data. And it's even in the edit window, it's not like you're deleting data. You can still re-export with a wide ranges as well. Cool. So I'm going to quickly scrub through here and make sure we aren't clipping any movement out. I'm going to do a quick export just to complete the record workflow, and then we're going to go back in and do the refinement phase.
What's happened if you blur the depth data?
In an attempt to like tidy it up.
Yeah.
That's definitely an option. It's something that would probably be more effective using the refinement algorithm in the tool. But yeah, we'll definitely get into playing with both inputs in a moment. We'll see. We'll get there shortly.
So
Great question, though.
It exports as an MP4 also?
Yes. We call this, and let me go to the export now. Export folder. So I have 3 files. I have the video file. I have a PNG image, which is my poster image, and then a metadata file. You will need that metadata in Unity because it is holding your sensor data, essentially.
What's the poster image?
The poster image is optional, but it is a helpful reference point in Unity when you're not playing the scene back. It kind of acts as your avatar. Oh, sorry about that. So this is the video file with the color and the depth combined, and we call this combined per pixel. And this is a format that is optimized for Unity in that it's very lightweight and performance friendly. I would not want to, for example, export an OBJ sequence of this data. I would never get it into Unity and have a performance scene. So video is the way to go here. And this is the export format that we will focus on today. If you guys have questions about other formats, geometry sequences, PNG exports, feel free to come and talk to me because those are things that are in the works. But again, for the sake of this weekend, we're going to stick with kind of the basics. Yeah.
Are you compatible with Unreal?
We are not at this time. Yeah. I would say if you wanted to work with Unreal this weekend, you would go with OBJ sequence. Not ideal. It's going to be heavy. But we do focus on Unity at the moment. Yeah.
What are the different types? I'm sorry. What are the different types of outputs that you have then?
Yeah.
Combined?
Sure. So besides combined, so the OBJ sequences are our kind of first step into geometry exports. PNG exports are kind of the next step for those who were interested in more of a VFX pipeline to take this data into After Effects, or even if you want to do some more just kind of deeper compositing work. They are 2 formats that are not actually publicly available. But we can, when it comes to the OBJ sequences, I can activate that feature for you guys as for those who need them. And we can kind of get you guys individually set up. It's not something that I could send you off after this weekend set up with, however, until it's publicly available. Yeah.
I'm curious about the codec for that MP4. 48 kilobytes is really low, and I feel like if we were doing After Effects work and want to re-export, how would you achieve that kind of optimization?
Yeah, sure. It's something that it's not available yet to play with this to increase this resolution. The step for us would be a PNG export, so it's lossless and you have that quality. For the sake of this current version, it is small and condensed and basically, again, optimized for the playback that Unity handles when you have a million other objects in your scene, and optimization is just kind of your life. So yeah, I definitely can talk to you more about that. Again, I'm going to talk a lot about kind of things that are coming, and I know that's not ideal, but for those who have specific workflow questions, I will try to get you as much information as I can. Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to go into refinement now, right?
I was going to pop this into Unity and then do refinement, but
I just want to do a time check, and probably we should take a break between.
Oh,
the
yes.
next section.
Yeah.
Whether we should do that now or in 5 minutes or whenever's good for you.
I'll throw this into Unity. It'll take 5 minutes, and then we'll take a breather if that works.
For Unity, which version, which older version can be used for?
How old can you go,
Yeah.
basically? 5.6.
Okay.
I mean, I definitely recommend 2017, 2018, or 2019.
Yeah.
But if you can only do 5.6, you should be fine. And I'll give Unity its time to load because it always takes forever.
How heavy can be the data?
When it's exported as combined per pixel, it's very light.
Okay.
The goal here being if you want to build to mobile, so if you're doing an AR project, you can still play these captures back very easily. So that's the goal of just making it very platform friendly. I'll quickly start off with the demo scene here, which everyone here will have access to just to get started quickly. For those of you who have never used Unity before, that's totally fine. It does not require any advanced knowledge. I had no Unity experience when I first started working at Scatter. So these are actually 3 characters that we had previously captured. So I'll quickly play these for you before we add in our own. And again, they are 2.5D captures. Actually, these are all 3 New Yorkers that we interviewed for Blackout.
Did you tell them that you kept some of the?
They know, yes, they do know, yeah. We have definitely had those conversations.
So this can be made in real time too?
Oh, for like streaming right into Unity?
Why not?
Yes, yeah. That is, it involves a little bit of a hack right now. Let's talk about that later.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit of a detour. So I'm going to start at the basics for those of you who have not been into Unity before, but this will be quick. I have a couple of folders here. Basically, you've imported the Depthkit plugin, which for all of these capture machines has already been done. And I'm going to just go in and make a new scene here so we can start from scratch. So in my clips folder, I'm going to just bring in the capture that we just made. Which I'm pulling from my exports folder.
All 3 of the files.
All 3, yeah. The poster image is optional, but it's very helpful. All right, so I'm going to right-click, click on Depthkit, create my clip, and then I'll go right over into the inspector window. This is where I have my clip editor, essentially.
Do all versions of Unity have that right-click depth kit?
They do, yeah.
Really?
So it's because she's using the Depthkit plugin that Unity developed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you can just import the plugin, and I don't want to go over stuff like that too much. I can very much go through this individually as we set up the capture stations. You can also just go right up to the menu here of Depthkit, create clip as well. So this is where my subject is going to live. I've got the clip editor here where I have my video player, I assign a look. This is where we'll talk more about tomorrow about the different looks that you can apply. And I'm just going to take my data here and I'm just going to drag and drop into the poster frame slot. I'll drag my metadata, which is just a text file. And we can already see that that's populated over here. And then last, my video file is going to go right down into the video player section for the video clip. So that is actually all I need. And I can hit play. And we are ready to go.